Wow, look at this stack. I haven't seen this much raw physical plastic since the Great Landfill Reclamation Project of 2115. Floppy disks. 100-year-old floppy disks. Incredible. Most people nowadays think these are just the 3D printed icon for save. They have no idea they were actual physical objects you could hold in your palm. Look at the colors. We have off-white, a faded neon blue, and a surprisingly intact crimson red. Set them down right here on the anti-static mat. Don't worry about the solder fumes. The ventilation grid will eventually clear them out. I need to treat these like delicate biomaterials. The internal data isn't locked behind encryption algorithms or neural gates. It's literally just microscopic magnetic dust trapped in a spinning polyester circle inside the shell. If I introduce a single static charge from my cybernetic glove, boom, 90 years of personal history turns into random background noise. Do you hear that? The spring on the metal shutter still works. This little slider was the only thing protecting the data from the open air. In the early days, people would carry these around in their pockets. Imagine that. Your entire world, your private diary, your family financial records, just riding against your leg, separated from destruction by a millimeter of unshielded metal. I always find it fascinating how much faith humanity used to put into physical interfaces. Before we had the cloud, before we had direct neural links, we had this. Tactile, kinetic, vulnerable. Let's pull up the optical loop enhancer and inspect the drive path. I'm just going to use this microfiber brush. It has a localized ionization field to gently remove the particulate matter, the actual 100-year-old domestic dust, without scratching the magnetic medium. It's almost like cleaning an ancient tomb. You know, the history of these specific disks is wild. The tech sector originally designed them to hold 1.4 megabytes of data. It's hard to even process that number today, right? A single pixel in a low-resolution holographic call nowadays is about that size. And yet, back then, people fit entire game engines on a dozen of these, or thousands of pages of personal text. And if you were a writer, or a net runner, or just a student, you had a box of these on your desk. And this was your legacy. This is how you remembered things. Let me see if I can find my ancient universal interface module. I think it's buried under the replacement optic nerve cables in the lower drawer. I have to patch a translation layer onto the shop's diagnostic terminal. The machine can only read quantum data or binary fiber optics. It doesn't know what to do with physical magnetic flux. It will probably throw an error code at me. Let's try to load the crimson disk first. No, this part is entirely mechanical. The computer has to physically grip the disk, lock it into place, and spin the entire polyester wheel until the laser, well, not a laser, a tiny magnetic head, rests exactly against the surface of the data tracks. It sounds so angry, doesn't it? That noise. And that's the sound of the machine struggling to focus. The diagnostic screen over here is flashing a red error 404 code. I'm just going to try and bypass the primary boot sector. It's possible the initial allocation table is completely corrupted, but the secondary copy further into the disk might still have some readable headers. If I plug this ancient format directly into my neural link, the translation errors alone could give me a pounding headache for 3 days. It's safer to keep the code outside of my own skull. And there, it found something. The signal is weak, but the terminal is interpreting it. It's loading. Look at that. It's just text. Simple, unformatted text. It seems to be some kind of private journal from the winter of 1999, the year before the turn of the millennium. The user is writing about the anxiety of the Y2K bug, and this widespread panic that the computers would misinterpret the new year and crash the civilization. They had no idea what was actually coming, did they? They were worried about the date codes on their local servers, and they had no conception of total atmospheric collapse or the corporate wars that would digitize humanity 50 years later. There's a strange, heartbreaking kind of innocence in this data. It's just someone writing about their daily lunch, and their hope for a promotion, and their worry that their old computer won't load the new calendar. It makes me wonder what kind of digital artifact we are generating today that someone 100 years from now will look at and find incredibly, foolishly quaint. Let's talk value. Because I know you didn't brave the rain and the perimeter drones just for a history lesson. I can offer you 200 corporate chits up front, right now, as a straight salvage purchase. Or if you prefer to keep this off the grid, I have about 100 tokens and untraceable physical titanium chits, and maybe some fresh ration vouchers for the hydroponic market. It's a gamble for me. These collectors up in the neon high-rises, the ones with more credits than cents, sometimes they want the ancient stuff purely for the novelty of owning a physical object. But the market is incredibly fickle. Last month they wanted vintage synthetic human organs. This month they want ancient gaming code. Next month it could be antique hand-woven socks. What do you think? Quick credits or a deep history dive? You want me to finish recovering the rest of the discs? I knew you were going to say that. Most people who carry something this old into my shop didn't find it. They inherited it. It belongs to a past they never knew. Let me finish setting this logic bypass. It's incredibly peaceful doing this when the rain gets this heavy. The city outside moves so fast. Everyone is so obsessed with the upgrade cycle, replacing their cybernetics every 6 months, swapping out their neural interfaces for the new model. Everything is ephemeral. But in here, in the smell of ozone and old dust. Time feels like it halts. We are looking at a snapshot of a single human mind from over a century ago. And they thought they were invisible. They thought their words would be private, locked inside this plastic tomb. If we manage to read all these discs, if we unlock every memory, tell me, if you could decide right now whether to completely erase your own entire digital archive forever, so no one can ever look back at your private life, or preserve it perfectly for 100 years, knowing anyone can read it, which path would you choose?